Week, I took my son David to practice driving. He's still at the stage where I told him to turn on his right blinker and he turned on the windshield wipers. But as we were driving, he taught me something that I never thought of before. I was telling him about speed limits, 25 miles an hour, and he said 1/2 mv squared. I said, David, what are you talking about? He said, that's the formula for energy. He's taking physics. And he says, you see, it's squared. So when you increase speed, when you increase velocity, you're actually squaring the energy, which means that if you're going 25 miles an hour, then your energy, your impact is going to be exponent of that, 625. But if you're going 50 miles an hour, then the impact isn't double, but rather 4 times that. And that also means if you need to stop short, it's going to take you 4 times as long to stop short when you're going 50 as when you're going 25. And that's why it's so dangerous to speed. I said, David, that is a great lesson. I think I'm going to, in the future, slow down a little. We've been learning a lot about exponents lately, how even just one person carrying a virus can come in and infect an entire community, an entire country. And this lesson about exponential impact is one that we see in this parasha as well. We're going to read Acharemot and Kedoshim. And Acharemot is Acharemot Shnei Bnei Aharon, the two sons of Aharon die. We're not sure exactly what they did, but it was something, maybe by itself, it wouldn't seem to require the death penalty, but because they were leaders, because everyone looked up to them, if a leader says something not quite right or sets an example that isn't good, then lots of people following them can lead to tremendous impact. And that's why Bikrovai Ekadesh, with those close to HaKadosh Baruch Hu, they need to set an example and they are held on a higher level of responsibility. There's a parallel to the story of the two sons of Aharon that we just read in the Daf Yomi yesterday. And that's Eli, who was Kohen Gadol in the Mishkan in Shiloh, and he had two sons, Chofni and Pinchas. And they were evil people. The Pisukim say that they stole from people and they abused women, and they both died on the same day before their father. So there's some parallels between these two stories. The Talmud, however, explains it slightly differently. It says Chofni sinned, but not Pinchas. It gives different proofs. It says, then why is Pinchas called one of the Bnei Belial, a scoundrel? It says because Pinchas lemachot lechofni velo micha, he was in a position to influence his brother, to protest, to tell him, hey, Chofni, you shouldn't be doing that. And since he didn't do that, ma'aleh alav hakatuv ki'ilu chata, and therefore we ascribe it as if he himself sinned. In other words, even though he was good by himself, but he kept it to himself, and he wasn't influencing others. So therefore, the sin of omission is just as great as the sin of commission. We think about this week some new research that Pope Pius XII, 1942, already got full reports about the mass murder of Jews in Europe, and he ignored them. He was in a position of power. He could have done something about it, and he didn't. And that makes him complicit in their murder. Later on, they say, well, the Nazis had come into Rome and he couldn't say anything. But that's later on. Then this research shows that even before that, he knew about it and didn't do anything about it. That's really upsetting. And on the flip side, however, there's good news, which is when a virus hits, when evil proliferates, we can counter that with the exponential value of good. Last night, the Chayil Minyan, we had an interview with Mr. Joe Shami, and he mentioned that one of the people that influenced him to be a community leader was Sam Sutton. Interestingly, it reminds me that last year we interviewed another community leader, Ronnie Hirsch, and he said that he was also influenced to be a community leader from Sam Sutton. And so you have one person who influenced several people, right? And now these individuals have now become great community leaders, and they're talking to young people, to young adults, many of whom will become great community leaders themselves, and in turn do all the great work that they do and influence their friends and the people that come after them. And you see the tremendous value of how a good deed we shouldn't think is just, well, I only helped one person. I only helped one person get a meal. What's that going to do? Maybe we realize, often we don't even realize how great the impact is of the good things that we do. And that's powerful enough to counteract all the bad and all the suffering that is out there. So if you like this video, please send it to 2 people. And with that, I wish you Shabbat Shalom.